In this session, we will be discussing manual sharing and what it is, what are the use cases, and when we can go with manual sharing. So manual sharing allows to grant access to records to other users that we manually define. So in this scenario, you can manually select the user that you want to share that record with, versus in the automatic sharing rules, which we have owner-based sharing and criteria-based sharing rules. There, it happens automatically. Once you define your sharing rules, it happens automatically. It will always be shared with those exact same users as long as the criteria are met. But here, for example, let's say you want to share an account whose region is North. One time you can share it with a user from HR department. Another time you can share it with a user from finance department, for example. You have that freedom to choose. Manual shares are available only for accounts, opportunities, cases, contacts, leads, and custom objects. A contact that is not linked to an account is always a private. Regardless of your organization's sharing model, only the owner of that contact and administrators can view it. So contacts is highly recommend that contacts to be attached to accounts, and if they are not attached to accounts, they are kind of called orphaned contacts, and they're also called like private contacts, and these sharing rules don't apply to them. Granting access to one record may include access to all its associated records. For example, we will see that when we want to share access to account, it will also ask us what kind of access we want to give to opportunities and cases. To grant access to a record, you must be one of the following user. Basically, if you want to share a record, you either have to be the owner of the record, you either have to be a user in a role above the owner in the hierarchy, any user granted full access to the record, or you have to be an admin. All right. Otherwise, you won't be able to share the record. So we have one scenario here. And when you will need to use this manual sharing is, let's say you're going to be absent from work for a couple of days, and during your absence, you want your records to be managed by your coworker. In that scenario, if you don't already have a sharing rule, you can manually share your record, and so that your coworker can continue work on them when you are away from your work. In this scenario, we will share account record with test user. Before doing this, ensure that account OWD is set to private. Ensure that there is not any active sharing rules on account records. Set the test user role to a lower level than the admin user. We are already meeting this requirement, so we don't have to worry about them. And I'm going to directly jump into this sharing scenario. So we're going to share account record with test user, and then we will share it with public group, and then we will also share it with a role. For all scenarios, verify that the test user has the right access to account and the related records and cases, contacts, opportunities. If the results are not as expected, make sure that the object access on the related objects are set properly. So we are applying sharing rules. We also, if your sharing rules are not working, that means the user's profile may not have access to the object at all, or the user does not have a permission set that gives access to the object, okay? So if your sharing rules do not work, so please check the user's profile. Make sure the profile has access. So what I will do is I'm going to share an account, and we'll navigate to accounts. So you could open an account. And currently, just to confirm, our test user does not have access to other users' account records. He can only see his own account record. So I'm now going to go ahead and share this account with our test user, okay? So I'll have to open this, and then there's a sharing button here. Click on this button and select the user. You can select the user by their name, okay, test user, and what kind of access you want to give to the test user. Let's say account access. I want to give read-write access to account. I also want to give read-write to case and read-write to opportunity. And then we will click on save. All right. So in this scenario, we don't care what the account region is, what the account record type is. You can go to any account and share that because you're manually selecting the account that you want to share. So let's do a refresh. As a test user, now I can see that account record and I can edit this. For example, I should be able to edit the related records as well. So for example, if I go to lead source, change that, save, and similarly, I'll go to the case that is related to that account and change this to, or update this to, right? So I get that access as expected, but the test user do not have access to any other account record. Now, if I go to this particular account, right, that we were sharing, go to sharing and click on edit. So you have, if you want to remove that sharing role, what you can do is you can just go ahead and delete that from here and save it. And that will remove the access from our test user. Now it will be gone from there. You see, you don't have access to accounts. You can only see one account that belongs, which is his own account. Let me now go and share it again. And this time I'm going to be sharing it a little bit differently. Instead of selecting the user here and typing the username, I'm going to click on this drop down, and here I have couple options. I have public group, right? We have this account public group, and in that public group we have our test user, and I'm going to share it with the public group. This time what I will do is I will give read-only access to everything, okay? Imagine you have a scenario where you want your coworker just to see your account case and opportunity record data, but not to change them. And click save. And then I'll go as a test user here and do a refresh. I should be able to see that account. Here it is, but I will not be able to edit it this time. So I'm getting an error. That's as expected. Let me try the opportunity, for example. Discount 12, save, error, cancel out. Same thing will happen to the case. Okay, so it is working as expected. I'm going to go to the sharing as an admin, and we will remove that sharing rule. Okay, so I'm going to remove that sharing rule. All right, and then we will save this. So that will take away the access from our user. As you can see, you can only see one account. And let me share the same record this time with a different setting. Okay, I'm going to share this now by selecting uh, roles and subordinates. Okay, which role I'm going to pick? Let's say VP International Sales. Okay. VP International Sales is above our test users role. Our test users role is Western Sales Team, and here is VP International Sales. Just because I'm going to share it with this role, that means automatically all the users with these roles will be getting that access. All right. In this scenario, I'm going to give read here. Let's keep case private and an opportunity private. So I'm only sharing account, but not case or the opportunity. And then click save. Let's go as our test user and check this and how it works. It's not here yet. Let me go back and confirm. Okay, sharing. Okay, roles and subordinates, VP International Sales. Let me check VP International Sales. Okay, so VP International Sales, he doesn't have any role under him. That's why our test user is not able to see it. Okay, our test user Western Sales Team is under this direct sales, and this role is under VP North American Sales. Okay, and VP North American Sales is not under VP International Sales. It is under, so you see, you need to track this and you have to find the role above it. The one role above it is SVP Sales Marketing. So instead of selecting VP International Sales, I'm going to select VP North American Sales, okay? VP North American Sales. Edit this and roles and subordinates. So it won't let me to change that. So I'm going to X out from there and redefine it. Roles and subordinates. VP, which one did we say we're going to pick? Okay, VP North American Sales. Okay, VP North American Sales. And we are only sharing account. This too will be kept private. Let's go and refresh here. Now the account is back. We do not see opportunities or cases as expected, but we can edit this account now because we gave that edit access. Just make sure you read this role hierarchy correctly, and you can always track it with this line. So you see, this director and director sales is not under director and director channel sales. They have the same hierarchy, okay? They have the same level. And the one role above this role is VP North American Sales. Then it goes to track this SVP Sales Marketing, and then it goes to all the way up to CEO. All right. SVP Sales Marketing, SVP Human Resource, and SVP Customer Service Support, COO, and SFO, they all have same hierarchy. All right. That's how it works. Similar to accounts, we can also share opportunities, cases, contacts, and leads. So let me go ahead, and as well as custom objects, let me go ahead and pick a sample lead record and share it with our test user. So before I do any sharing, first thing what we have to do is we have to make sure the OWD for that particular object is set to private, because in this scenario, for example, the lead OWD is set to public read write. Our test user is already able to see his lead records that belong to other users. From clicking on lead, so let me switch to a different list view. And as you can see, our test user is already able to see lead records that belong to the admin. And what kind of access he has? He has read write, meaning he can even edit lead records that belong to our admin user. So in this scenario, we don't have to go ahead and set up particular sharing rules because the records are already being shared. But just to demo the sharing rules for lead object, what we will do is we will set this to private so that the access is restricted, and then we will apply the sharing rules. Okay, it's going to take a couple more seconds. Let's refresh. All right, it's still taking some time. After it is set to private, the test user will not be able to see other users' records. All right, it is now set to private. Let's go to test user and check leads. And let's go to all open leads, and our test user is able to see only his own lead record, not the other ones, okay? All right, not the other ones. Now, and I want to give access to our test user for two couple lead records. I'm gonna select this one, for example, and share it with our test user. And we have different categories, public groups, user. They all work the same way, just like they worked for account. I'm going to basically select a user, test user. And if you have multiple users, you can also type their name and include multiple users one by one. Okay, in this scenario, test users, let's say you have another user with the proper license, you can search, find them, and include them, for example. So I have integration users, so I'm including them too. So let me give read-write access. And when you share records with our test user, you will be required to give more access than what is defined in the sharing setting. If the sharing setting gives you private access, if the OWD is set to private, then in the manual sharing rule, you'll have to give either read write or read only. So in this scenario, I'm giving read write and save. We will go back to our test user account, do a refresh here. And now the test user has access. And let's go ahead and try to edit. Okay. And save. Edit was successful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to um, go to our sharing settings. Instead of private, I will switch that to public read only, right? And click save. Okay. And let's do a refresh here. So in this scenario, what's happening is OWD is set to public read only. And I have manual sharing rule configured for this lead that gives what kind of access? Let's check. It gives edit access to our test user. As a result, what kind of access our test user will end up having? Again, if, as we mentioned before, in a scenario where there are multiple access, the access that grants most, the sharing rule that grants the most access will win. In this scenario, even though our test user will be able to see all the leads, he will only be able to edit that particular lead that was shared with the test user, which is Habib, for example, he can edit this lead record, but not the others. Let's try that. So I'm going to find the record that was shared with him manually, which is this one, and we will try to edit it again. All right, and save. He is able to save, edit, and save this record. And if I go ahead, try to do the same thing to this record, go to details, and let's give some value here and save, and we're getting an error. So why is that? Because in OWD, we're saying users can only see each other's records, but in this sharing rule, we are saying any user who has access to this record can edit, this record, okay? If I completely get rid of this access, and now what will happen is that change will remove edit access from our user. So he won't be able to edit this record anymore after that. Save, error again. Let's cancel out from here. One more thing here is I'm going to share this again as an admin and lead access. Let's go ahead and set this to select the test user. And here you have an option to give read access and write access. You cannot select the private access over here. This access that which you can select from here are going to be same or more than what is defined on the OWD. If OWD is set to public read only, that means the least access you can give is going to be read only over here. And that's how it works. Sharing rules and OWDs, manual sharing rules all together.